Alright guys, so today we're going to check out the LG tone-free FN6 model. Now this is a pair that comes in at $150. It does resemble the AirPods with the stem style design, but it has a very interesting feature that kind of separates it from some of the others. And so we're going to check out to see if, mixed with some of the features and the sound that these offer, if it's worth that $150 price tag. So let's start with what makes these different than most of the other earbuds. They actually have a UVnano case that's using a UV light to kill 99.9% of the bacteria while charging the earbuds. And I will say, with everything going on in the world today, it's very nice to have something that additionally will help clean what you're using on a daily basis. And I think for the most part, this will give people a little bit more peace of mind. But that alone, I don't think is going to be enough to make these worth that price tag. So let's check out some of the other features and the sound itself. They do have Bluetooth 5.0, and they also have AAC and SBC playback. And I did notice that these had a solid, stable connection. I also used these with an LG phone, and so when I opened up the case, these kind of acted like the AirPods where it popped up on the display and gave me an easy pairing option. So I'm not sure if this works the same with other Android or Apple devices, but it was really nice that it did that with my LG phone. So one thing I really liked about these is the app that LG made to work specifically with these earbuds. They basically worked with Meridian so that they have some pre-built EQ settings in, but it also gives you the ability to EQ these on your own. You also can use the Find My Earbuds option. It can also allow you to enable notifications with different apps, and then you can also check the battery status all within the app itself. So I really enjoyed the app. Some apps don't really work too well, but I found that the LG tone-free app worked really nicely with these. Now, as far as the IP rating, they do come in rated at IPX4, which I find to be kind of on the lower end, especially considering these don't have noise canceling. So it is a pair that if you're out and about and it starts to rain a little bit or you get light splashes, they'll be fine. But this is definitely not a pair you want to submerge into water. Now, as far as what you're getting inside the box, you are getting the usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips. And then as far as the charging cable, they've also included a USB-C cable. And speaking of the charging cable, the battery life I found to be very decent on the earbuds themselves, where you're going to get around 6 hours. But on the charging case, you're only going to get an additional 12. So that's only 18 hours total, which is completely fine to me, especially considering they were able to keep the case as small as they did. Now, as far as the case, you see on the back, it has the USB-C input for charging, and then around on the front, you have the single indicator light, so you can kind of gauge how much battery life is left on the case. And another thing that I really like about the case is it is a Qi wireless charging case. So you can simply just come in, drop this on a wireless charger, and it will start charging. Now, when you lift the lid of these, the first thing you notice is, although these have that stem style design, it is a shorter stem that kind of resembled the AirPods Pro. And you can also see this blue light come on behind the earbuds. And actually in the instruction manual, they call this mood lighting. I don't know why they would call it mood lighting, but it is something that's pointed out in the instruction manual. Now, as far as the earbuds themselves, they are extremely lightweight. I found them to be very comfortable, and I had no issues with these falling out. And as far as the controls, they do use touch controls, and I'm happy to say that you can control everything. So you have your play, pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, you have volume control, and then you can also press and hold these to switch them into ambient mode, which basically means the microphones are pulling in all of the sound around you. So if you want to carry on a conversation with somebody, you can, and you can also just kind of hear traffic or any kind of noise you want around you without actually taking out the earbuds. And another feature I really like on these is they have the smart sensor that will auto pause if you take one of the earbuds out of your ear, and then it will auto resume if you put them back in. Now, for you guys that like to use your earbuds individually, you'll be happy to know that you can use either the left or the right. And then the microphones on these, I feel like they did a very good job. And I think a lot of people are going to be happy with how these sound. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. All right, guys, so here is a mic test using the LG tone-free. Again, I think it does a fairly decent job of picking up my voice, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here.
And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. The sound of these is going to be what really splits up if you're really interested in these or if you're not going to be interested in these. And the reason I say that is it kind of comes back to the bass. The bass on these, in my opinion, is very tight, it's very accurate, but it doesn't pick up a lot of sub bass, and it doesn't do a lot to try to overemphasize bass. So most people are gonna feel like these are light on bass, and they're going to feel like it's just lacking. And I can definitely see where they're coming from. But what that also does is make them sound more accurate. It does very well with a lot of genres where bass sometimes just kind of muddies up the sound. These definitely don't do that. There's a lot of focus on the mids and the treble. You can definitely see that the mids are pushed forward because dialogue is done very well in these. These sounded great with movies and also with podcasts, but also a lot of genres where it's more vocal driven, these really excelled at. It was just more pop and hip hop and even metal where it felt like it just kind of pulled the life out of the music a little bit. And so it really is just gonna leave you feeling like you want a little bit more. Now moving over to the sound stage and the sound imaging, these did not feel as wide as I hoped that they would. It felt more like I was in a medium-sized room, but they definitely did a good job with picking up detail of instruments and where everything was coming from. So my overall feeling on these really is the price tag is what holds them back. Although I do think they sound great depending on what genres you're listening to, there's just certain genres that it feels like it kind of falls flat. So in that price range, when you're going to compete against Jabra and the Google Pixel Buds and the Soundcore Liberty 2 Pros and the One More ANC, there's just some really good competition that I don't think LG can quite compete with. I think the $100 price range would have been much better for these, so I find it very hard to recommend them given their current price tag. But guys, that's my video on the brand new LG tone-free FN6. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.